Hey guys, and welcome back to A&J Education YouTube channel. In today's video, we're talking about importance of academic grades when applying to top UK or US universities. Let's go. If you're applying to top universities in the UK or in America, or you want study tips, tricks, and advice from myself and other A&J Education team, feel free to hit subscribe, which I believe you can do by clicking the button here, and also follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where we publish extra content and advice that we don't necessarily always publish here on YouTube. So do check those out. I'm normally very responsive on Instagram, so feel free to message me there. Anyways, in today's video, we're talking about academic grades, specifically about academic grades that you receive at your GCSEs, or if you are studying in America or an American curriculum, your grades year 9 and year 10, grade 9, grade 10. So you're kind of not the last 2 years of school, but the 2 years before the last 2 years of school. Now, I get at least a dozen emails every week and messages on Instagram or comments on YouTube saying, "Oh, Sunny, my grades at GCSE or my grade 10 performance wasn't as good, but I'm now doing well and I want to apply to Princeton or Oxford or St. Andrews. Can I still do that?" So the short answer is yes, you can. And you should never not apply to university because of your previous grades were not good enough. And there are several reasons for that. The number one, and I think the most important takeaway I want you to have from this video, is that top universities, really selective universities across America and the UK, they have multiple candidates per place. You already knew that. However, what many people forget is that majority of those candidates have fantastic grades, right? So if the universities were just selecting candidates based on their academic performance, universities will be very kind of stale, non-dynamic, non-vibrant places because everybody would kind of be the same. Instead, universities use a range of data points. So, yes, your grades, but also your application essays or essay if you're applying in the UK, your teacher reference or references, depending on the UK and America, the extra exam if you're applying somewhere like Oxford, Cambridge, medicine, or if you're applying to America, the SAT, and of course the interview performance. So there are lots of these extra data points that they take into account that go alongside grades. Because of this, even if your grades previously weren't as good as they are now, you still have a shot. Of course, if you've been failing your grades throughout, including the year when you're applying, your chances, increasingly approaching zero. However, if you previously were kind of not as academically strong and have since picked up, that's fine. And lots of applicants apply like that. The second point I want to make is that universities are aware that different students mature academically at different age. So some, since age 11, they've been a star performer and they've always consistently had fantastic grades and good references and all of that. Brilliant. If you're one of those people, I'm slightly envious. However, not everybody is like that. So for example, I kind of had, below average grades up until I was 15 and a half. At what point, I think even 16, at what point I've switched on. And it was actually my teacher at school, Mr. Richard Smith. He's watching this now. A big shout out and thank you to him because I'll never forget this. He sat me down and had a conversation with me, making me believe in my ability and encouraging me and pushing me to do well in my GCSEs. And because of that conversation, it was a turning moment for me. I then did focus on my GCSEs, did as well as I could, and then went on to do reasonably well at A-levels and go on to university from there. So in my case, it was 16. Other students, mature academically at sort of 18, 20, some never mature, right? So universities know that, and they are not interested as much in where you were, what were your grades age 15, but where you are now and where you're going. So what is the trajectory of your improvement? And, universities are not always looking for polished diamonds. If you're a rough diamond, if you're a diamond in the making, if you're a future success story, that's fine too, and you can be exciting. And if your essays and the references all back this up, especially your references. So, if your reference reflects, has a statement, something like this: Jimmy, hasn't always been our best student, but has since found inner fire and, motivation to drive himself and push himself to achieve fantastic grades. That's brilliant. That works. And that reflects really highly on Jimmy as an applicant when making an application. So do bear that in mind. The last point I wanted to make is that the universities have certain diversity targets that they want to hit. Diversity in terms of where students are coming from. So, for example, if you're an applicant who's coming from a low-performing school, or maybe you have certain disadvantages, structural disadvantages that prevented you from achieving good grades in your year 9, year 10, your GCSEs, you should notify the universities when making an application, and you will get a discounted view based on that. Let me explain. Let's say you have two pupils. One pupil comes from a single parent household where the parent is, whatever, a drug addict, and lots of bad things are happening, and that student is managing to scrape, I don't know, 5 Bs and 5 Cs at GCSE, right? Versus a pupil who gets 10 A stars at GCSEs, but that school goes to, is from a stable family, goes to a good school, kind of a school that's been consistently high performing. From the university's perspective, the achievement of a student who got 5 Bs and 5 Cs is more impressive given their circumstances than the achievement of the student who has been in a highly supportive environment this whole way, this whole journey through. So often they will discount, they will raise the bar for someone who's coming from a more advantageous background and slightly lower the bar to equalize it for those who are coming from less advantageous background. Now, the example of 5 Bs and 5 Cs is not precise and it's not accurate, I've just made it up, but you get the point. And this works both in the UK and America. And again, if your referee mentions in the reference kind of the circumstances of your upbringing, of your application, that will make a big difference. So a statement such as, okay, Jimmy, he received 5 Bs and 5 Cs, but the average for our school was 5 Ds and 5 Es, that suddenly makes Jimmy look like a superstar. Whilst an applicant from, different, much more advantageous background, if they have, 10 A stars, but on average, in previous years, most people are getting 10 A stars from that school, again, that doesn't make them look as good. So again, the bottom line here is you as an applicant need to build a relationship with the referee, all referees who are writing your reference, and make them invested in you, right? And that's not something you can do in a week, and I keep talking about it in all of our videos. Relationship with your referee is key. If they push for you and they write you a fantastic reference that says all the right things, your chances increase massively. So this is especially true if your grades previously weren't as strong. That reference is vital, all references, if you're applying to America and you need 3 of them. Make sure you invest in that relationship and do the best you can. So guys, just a quick recap, a couple of points we discussed today. Number 1, grades is just part of the story, and you also have references, application essays, extra tests, and interviews, which all form part of the equation when the universities assess you. Number 2, universities are much more interested in the trajectory rather than in where you are today, and they're willing to take into account and factor in improvement as a positive thing, so don't be disheartened. And point number 3, if your grades have suffered because of less advantageous background or disadvantaged background compared to other applicants, make sure to mention this, give a justification, invest in the relationship with your referee, and the universities, in theory, and often they do take into account and treat your grades through the lens, view your grades through the lens of that context. So once again, very important to give them that context, because if you don't tell them, they have no idea. Hope this helps. Please let me know in the comments about your application journey, what you're going through, where you're thinking of applying, and what grades, good or bad, you have in your year 9, year 10, sort of the 2 years before the last 2 years of school. Best of luck, and hopefully see you soon. Take care.